What's up, motherfucker?
Hold on, I hope y'all watching this shit.
First round, real quick.
People that are in those training rooms with him know how good.
Because he just knocks dudes out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good. I might fuck with this guy. He just, to me, I thought he was a con artist.
No,
just based off his look.
They're edge. Holy shit! What the hell just happened?
Well, what's up, motherfucker? Welcome to GSR Wednesday, February 2022. I'd love to talk about tonight. Talk baseball lockout a little bit. Talk a little bit about the Trevor Bauer situation. Talk about baseball not testing for steroids during this lockout. Talk about New York and their vaccine mandate. Is that going to change before the NBA playoffs get here? Got a lot of different things to talk about. We'll talk some NFL and NBA as well. But all right, before we jump into today's show, don't forget we're live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. We're giving out winners. Come join us. That show is live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're also live at 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with GSR Gonzo'S Sports Room. You can find that show as well on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can also find both shows on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all major podcast platforms. Also, we have a new pro wrestling podcast, GWR Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. It's a weekly podcast, drops every Sunday at 9 a.m. New episode of that will be dropping. Or we just dropped the episode last Sunday. Was the 4th episode. So go check that out. New episode will be dropping this Sunday at 9. You can find that on all major podcast platforms: Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and also you can find the video version if you would rather watch the video version of it on YouTube. It drops every Sunday 9 a.m. on the podcast platforms and on YouTube. GWR Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. We just released, like I said, last Sunday was our 4th episode we released. 5th episode will release this Sunday at 9 a.m. Follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo'S Sports Room. That's where we post all the information about our shows, whether it's our daily picks from Easy Money, a sports betting show, to interview announcements, to just anything to do with the show gets posted on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Gonzo'S Sports Room. You can find me at Chris D. Gonzalez on Facebook, Chris Gonzalez at Gonzo'S Sports Room on Twitter, and Chris Gonzalez on Instagram. Also, check out our YouTube page. We have a lot of content on there. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the bell so you get notifications of when we are live, so you never miss when we are live. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please hit the follow and like buttons. Please hit that share button as well. If you listen to our podcast, please rate and review. We greatly appreciate that as well. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzalez Sports /merch. We have, you can see some of our t-shirts behind us. Just had a new Easy Money and Sports Betting t-shirt drop, I think last weekend, maybe the weekend before. Have a new GSR shirt dropping here real soon. 2 or 3 GWR shirts on there. There's hats, hoodies, all kinds of different things on there. So go check that out. You can find that link going across the bottom of the screen in the ticker. Also, one more thing before we get started. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be re-airing DCCW's Harvest Havoc. It was one of their big shows from last October. We're going to air that tomorrow night. So people that have not seen DCCW can see what DCCW is about, and hopefully come to the DCCW show this Saturday night in Muncie, Indiana. Speaking of that, this Saturday night, Muncie, Indiana, at the National Guard Armory, you have DCCW's 4-year anniversary show featuring 9-time NWA Tag Team Champions, WWE Hall of Famers, the legendary Rock and Roll Express, The Rock and Roll Express will be wrestling in the main event against Tag Team of the Year. The highlight reel should be a great match. So if you're around the Muncie area, come out and watch some independent wrestling. If you can't make it there live, we have you covered. We will be there streaming the event live on our YouTube and Twitch channels at Gonzo'S Sports Room. We'll be check out our live stream if you can't be there live in person. Also, don't forget we are a ticket outlet. We are a ticket outlet for DCCW. Get your tickets now. Front row are sold out. General admission are getting limited. Tickets are going fast. Contact me on either my social media or the GSR social media, and we can get together and get you tickets. All right. First thing we're going to jump into today. Let's talk about the baseball lockout. Major League Baseball has been on the lockout now for 77 days. Today should have started spring training for all teams. Of course, they're on lockout, so they can't have no baseball activities can be going on. Opening day is supposed to be March 29th. If they mess around and this goes another week or two, I see opening day getting pushed back. I think there'll be a season eventually. I do. I just think there's too much for MLB to lose to not have a season. For one, you just a couple of years ago you had the shortened season due to COVID, and last year you had limited fans due to COVID. I mean, there's nothing more that the owners want than to have the fans packed or not the fans, the seats packed with fans this year. But the owners really aren't trying to work with the players at all. The players say what they're wanting, and owners come back and offer them a bunch of other stuff, but don't even mention anything about arbitration, which is one of the main topics that the players want change. They don't want to be able to be in arbitration for 3 years, and then you're basically giving the team control of these guys for 8 or 9 years on their first deal. And if the guy spends 4 or 5 years in the minor leagues, by the time he gets to the pros, and gets out of arbitration, he could be 30 years older or older, and then he's not going to have that chance to sign that big second contract. He might still get a contract, but it's not going to be for as much money as he would have been able to get if he had been a free agent earlier when he was younger, when he was 25, 26 instead of 30, 32. Uh, until I think we'll have a season because of one thing. The players are band together right now, but once the season's supposed to start and these players start losing money, it's going to be quicker for the players to jump and agree to something than it is the owners, because you got a lot of the younger players or players that aren't stars. They don't make millions of dollars. They can't afford to not play. So that's the big advantage that the owners have here is that the owners, hey, they have money. It's not going to hurt them near as much as it's going to hurt the players, especially the guys that aren't stars and haven't signed a big deal yet. If you're a younger guy that didn't get wasn't a top draft pick, didn't get a big first contract, you don't have the money. You have bills you have to pay. If you don't have the money to just sit at home and not get paid. So, and another thing that I found interesting, we'll move on to another topic off this is during this lockout, it came out now that Major League Baseball is going to stop steroid testing, saying that they say they're going to start testing back up once the lockout's over. I don't think they will. I think they've done this as kind of a backup plan for if they lose this whole season or if they lose a lot of the season. Say they lose, I don't know, 25 to 50% of the season. I think they've done this so then. What saved baseball when they went on strike back in 94, 95? When they came back, baseball was dead. They had alienated the fans. Ballparks were empty. Wasn't that many fans going. And what happened? steroid era. The MLB knew the players were on steroids. Home runs were starting to get hit. More people were coming to the park, and baseball turned a shoulder to it because it was saving baseball. It was making baseball relevant again. Well, then eventually there's a whistleblower, and then baseball decided they had to do something, and then now they've totally fucked over their Hall of Fame. They're keeping guys out of the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is supposed to be about the history of the game, and how do you tell the history of the game without having Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame, uh, Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame? Uh, Damn, I can't think of the other pitcher that should have been there, and Pete Rose. I mean, you got some of the best players. You got the all-time hit leader, the basically the all-time home run leader, one of the best pitchers since Nolan Ryan. All that won't be are not in the Hall of Fame, and probably will never get in the Hall of Fame. I think Pete Rose might get in eventually once he dies. I think that's when they'll let him in, but I don't think wants to give him the satisfaction of being alive when they put him in the Hall of Fame. And that could be the same thing that they do with Barry Bonds. I mean, the whole thing is baseball needs to change the way they do their Hall of Fame. And even the NFL has started doing this as well. As the NFL is starting to go by stuff you've done off the field. Hall of Fame is supposed to be based on what you've done on the court, on the field, on the baseball diamond, what you've done inside the lines in the game of Major League Baseball or NFL or whatever sport it is. That's what you should be getting judged on, whether you get in the Hall of Fame or not. And of course, we're over the last few years, it's been changing over. Well, this guy wasn't politically correct. He wasn't nice. He wasn't nice to the reporters, and just bullshit that shouldn't have nothing to do with whether a guy gets in the Hall of Fame or not. These reporters hold grudges, and that if just because a guy don't like somebody, that shouldn't be a reason that he don't get a vote for to be in the Hall of Fame. Uh, so I think what's going to happen is they're going to lose part of this season. Player, uh, the story that they're not testing for steroids during this lockout is going to disappear. They're going to start right back up, and you're not going to hear nothing mentioned about the steroid testing or nothing because baseball's not going to care. Baseball is going to want some big bang or something to happen to help get the fans back into it, where the fans aren't pissed off about the strike or feel like the owners are just being ridiculous or the players are selfish or however people feel. They're going to try to use. I think they're going to try to recreate what happened years ago after the last time they had this happen. So it's going to be interesting to watch and see is when this lockout ends. Is there going to be an announcement come out that steroid testing is starting back up on April 5th or whatever? You know what I mean? Or are they going to give these players a warning that they're going to start back up? Or are they going to go the other direction with it? We're just all of a sudden say, boom, hey, here we go. Which I don't through their labor contracts and stuff. I would say that they probably can't do that. Don't know for sure, but I would say they have to probably give the players some kind of notice. Uh, all right, let's move on to another topic in baseball. Going to talk a little bit of baseball, Dave. Then we'll move on to some other stuff. Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer has been cleared of federal charges due to the sexual assault allegations. So he's going to should be able to come back and play, or the Dodgers are going to want him. Is any other team or if the Dodgers decide to release him, is there going to be a team out there that is going to take a chance on Bauer? Are they going to get backlash from fans for taking a chance on Bauer? I think Trevor Bauer plays again. Uh, I I think he plays. Will probably finish this season out with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are going to bring him back. I know a lot of people don't like Bauer. He's polarizing. He's going to say what he thinks. That's the thing about Bauer is you never have to worry about him not expressing himself. If he's mad about something, he's going to let you know he's mad about it. If he don't like something, he's going to let you know he don't like it, and he's going to let you know when he's on top of his game. Uh, he's a fierce competitor. I loved him as a player pitching wise when he was with the Reds. Wish he had stayed with the Reds. Now he's in LA. They owe him a lot of money this year. Uh, and he can still get suspended by baseball. So that's what everybody's kind of waiting on is baseball going to suspend him? Uh, I don't think he should get suspended by baseball for a couple reasons. He was they dropped the charges, basically saying they didn't have enough evidence to prosecute. So then he set out 81 games last season due to this coming out in the middle of the season. They put him on paid leave, and then they just kept him there. They kept saying, "Oh, for a week, for 10 days, for 10 days." Well, the investigation was still going on, so they kept him on that basically commissioner's exempt list, paid leave. So he's already missed the 81 days. So if you do suspend him, the way from what I read, if he does get suspended, say he gets suspended, say they say uh, 30 days or whatever. Well, it's retro. It'll go back retroactive. So he'd already served his time. He'll be good. I read a report that some people thought he might get a 2-year suspension from baseball. If he gets a 2-year suspension from baseball, where when he didn't get charged with anything, and it basically said because there wasn't enough of evidence to be able to prosecute, uh, he had text message saying that that she had asked for him to be rough. Was he supposed to be that rough? I mean, that's between them. But with all that being said, I don't think he should get suspended no 2 years. If you want to suspend him 15, 20 days or something like that, or 15, 20 games, okay. He's already served that but if he gets a 2-year suspension, I think for one, I think that's just showing that since baseball don't like him, they're going after him, going to punish him worse. Because if he gets a 2-year suspension, Dodgers are going to release him, and who's going to take a chance on him in 2 years after not pitching for 2 years? You're 2 years older. I just don't see many teams taking a chance on him if he was to get suspended 2 years and have to sit out for two full seasons, especially after he already set out half or 81 games, yeah, almost half the season last year. So you're talking about a guy that could go almost 2.5 years without pitching. He's going to be 2.5 years older, not like he's a real young guy right now. And so I mean, so what team is going to take a chance? I mean, there's some teams that'll probably take a chance, but he's not going to get that real big deal like he just got. It's going to be probably a incentive laden deal, or it's going to be a 3 or 4 year deal for a decent amount, but not the amount that he would have got if he would have been able to pitch the last 2.5 seasons and been on top of his game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Trevor Bauer on that. But right now, we talked quite a bit of baseball here at the beginning, so let's move on to the NFL. The Bengals. Let's talk about the Bengals real quick here. Bengals just gave Zach Taylor a 6-year contract extension. I think the Bengals are making a mistake here. Don't get me wrong. I think Taylor deserved an extension because you don't want him going into his last year of his contract and being a lame duck coach. So and after this season he had, I say give him. I earned him a couple more seasons. But now you locked him in for 6 seasons. So what happens if the Bengals come out this year and a lot of teams have that Super Bowl hangover and say they win 4 or 5 games, just look terrible? Now, since you gave him this extension, you got to stick with Taylor another year, right? Since you gave him a 6-year extension, where say if you just signed him to a 2-year extension, he coaches this year, and the next year, say he has a bad season this year, the next year you give him that season, and if the team isn't playing well, or or the Bengals don't like what he's doing, then you could release him then, because you can always sign him to another extension. That's why I don't understand why these teams are so quick to give these coaches and even some of these players these 7-year deals. I'd rather give a guy a 2 or 3-year deal. It's going to be easy. If it doesn't work out, it's going to be easier for me to get out of, for one. I'm not stuck with a guy because I'm not going to get stuck with a guy because he's on his contract is so big that no other team is going to want to take over that burden. like I said, Zach Taylor was on the hot seat. He was on the hot seat going into this season. He has what is he like? He's like 16-35 in his career with the Bengals. He won like 4 games, 4 games the first year, like two games the first year, like 4 games last year. Which last year you have to give him kind of a pass. That's why I said I thought you at least give him maybe a 1 or 2 year extension because last year you have to give him kind of a pass because of Joe Burrow getting hurt. Uh, I mean, which is part of the Bengals' fault, partly the Bengals' fault as well because their offensive line is terrible. So I give him kind of a pass. I think now if Joe Burrow wouldn't have got hurt last year and they would have had another season like they did the year before, he probably wouldn't be the coach right now of the Bengals. But with Burrow getting hurt, I think that gave him another year. And then this year, with getting to the Super Bowl and having a chance to win it, fell apart there in the last couple of minutes, or would have been Super Bowl champions. I think that earned him at least 2 more years. The Bengals thought it earned them 6 more years. We'll see if it works out. I mean, what has Taylor proven? Yeah, they had a good. They were able to put together a great season. Got hot at the right time. Got to the Super Bowl. But like I said, the other 2 seasons hasn't looked good. And if the Bengals, but and the whole thing is, the Bengals don't fix their offensive line, it's not going to matter because Joe Burrow is going to get killed. Joe Burrow could very easily turn into another Andrew Luck situation if the Bengals don't get these offensive line troubles fixed. I'm a diehard Colts fan, as you can see by Colts hats and stuff up front. The hat I have on, diehard Colts fan, and I hate it when they get themselves stuck in a situation with some of these 6-year deals. So the Bengals just have to be careful here because the Colts, like I said with Andrew Luck, the Colts never fixed the damn offensive line. And look what happened with Andrew Luck. You have a guy that's a generational talent that retired early because he couldn't stay healthy and couldn't recover from all the hits he was taking. Don't get me wrong, some of them was his fault because he would hold on to the ball too long. But but the Colts also never done nothing to fix that offensive line. And I'm afraid that's going to be the same thing that the Bengals are going to do here with Joe Burrow. Because Bengals don't fix that offensive line, they're not going to go anywhere. And Joe Burrow is not going to be around very long. He's already hurt his knee. He already had the knee hurt last year and had to have surgery. Looked like he was going. It hurt his leg again in the Super Bowl. Got up, but he was able to come back and play. So if the Bengals need to fix their offensive line. Got to get a better offensive line to protect Joe Burrow, and they need a corner. If Eli Apple can't be the best corner on your team, you're going to struggle stopping a lot of teams if Eli Apple is your number one option, or is your number one corner, I should say. Um, I mean, that's the 2 areas they need to improve the most: offensive line and then defensive side of the ball, particularly a corner, another top corner. Defensive lineman wouldn't hurt him wouldn't hurt the Bengals as well to get a defensive lineman. But the first thing they have to do, either through free agency, or if you look in free agency and you don't see no offensive lineman you like, there's a lot of offense. This draft is a deep draft for offensive linemen. So you go in, that has to be your first priority in the draft. If you don't fix it, if you don't do anything to upgrade that offensive line before the draft in free agency, that's going to have to be your first priority in the draft. If they draft anything other than offensive linemen with their first couple picks in the draft, that GM should be fired. Head coach should be fired. If your number one priority isn't protecting your best player on your team, get him the fuck out of there. There's no reason for the GM or the coach to be there if they're not smart enough to know that they need to protect Joey B, or they're not going fucking nowhere. All right. Really not a whole lot of NFL news to cover right now with the Super Bowl just now ending. There'll be a lot more happening here real soon. You get because now all the coaching spots are full. Now you're going to start seeing players move. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers does. I think he's one of the big names that a lot of people think is going to hit free agency. Russell Wilson may hit free agency or get traded. And I mean, them are the two bigger names that I can think of that are. And I know like Chris Godwin's and some of the receivers there in Tampa. I think they're free agents now, or going to be free agents. So there's going. Excuse me. So you're going to start seeing it. We're going to start seeing a lot of movement and stuff here coming up in the next few weeks. In it, so the NFL will pick back up. All right, let's talk about a little NBA real quick. I heard this morning that heard Adam Silver doing an interview with Greeny from ESPN, Mike Greenberg, and Greeny, of course, he is in New York. The commissioner's in New York right now for some business stuff, and Greeny asked Adam Silver straight up if he thought that the New York vaccine mandate would be changed before the playoffs got here, and make it where Kyrie Irving is going to be able to play in the playoffs. And like Silver said, he has nothing to do with that. But in his opinion, he thinks there's a chance that it could get changed because you see there's a new governor in New York, and he's starting to let to do away with some of the mandates and getting things back going a little more. And Adam Silver made a great point in this interview was the mandate really didn't make much sense because the mandate only included home players. So Kyrie Irving can't play for the Nets at home. Let's say I'm unvaccinated and I was on the Indiana Pacers team, and we go to New York, I can play. And I agree with the commissioner. That makes no fucking sense at all. Why does it only apply to the home team? Why doesn't it apply to the visiting team? You're in New York. If that's the mandate, why doesn't it apply to visiting teams too? It's contradicting and just doesn't make no fucking sense that you have a player on a home team that is unvaccinated and he can't play home games. He can go play road games, can't play home games because of the vaccine mandate. But a player on a visiting team, think about this now. A player on a visiting team can come in and play, but the home team has to sit their player. That makes no sense at all. So that was something that should have been changed. Either you do it for everybody, either everybody has to follow a vaccine mandate in New York, anybody that plays there, or you don't do one at all. But you're basically punishing your home team with this mandate. You're putting your home team at a disadvantage because the other team can have unvaccinated players come in that same fucking building and play, but the guy that's on that team can't play because he's unvaccinated. Doesn't make no sense at all. So I think there's a good chance that it's going to get changed. It has nothing to do with the NBA has nothing to do with it being changed. But I think that New York governor is going to end up loosening up on them mandates some. Okay. Another thing in the NFL I wanted to talk about was Kyler Murray. There's been reports that Kyler Murray is unhappy in Arizona, and that him and Kingsbury and some of the other guys have been into it. And that Arizona might be looking to get rid of him. They're saying that he's basically immature. Has been one of the things that came out. But I've been saying since I first saw him play, since his rookie of the year. I've seen him play in college, but since his rookie year in the NFL, my son's a diehard Arizona Cardinals fan, and I've been telling him and the other guys that are usually here with me on this show. I talked about it this morning on ASAP in the morning. I'm on that real quick. I'm on that show be on that show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Go over to the ASAP Sports Network. Follow them. Great group of guys. I'm on that ASAP in the morning. I think I'm going to be on an evening show here coming up soon. But go check out that show. But like I was telling them guys, I've said from the beginning, Kyler Murray is going to play his rookie contract in the NFL, and he's going to play baseball. And there's a couple reasons why I think that. First reason is the only reason I think he came to the NFL first was because he knew he might have how baseball works. They might have you in the minor leagues. He'd have probably been in the minor leagues maybe one season, two at the most, just me guessing from being around baseball and watching baseball and all that. But so I think he went to the NFL because he knew I can go to the NFL now. I'll be a starter. I'm gonna get paid. Where in baseball, eventually he would have the opportunity to make more money than in the NFL. But to start out, going through the minors, you don't make shit. So it was going to take longer before he made money. So I think that was one of the reasons why he went to the NFL. But if you watch him, he just looks so. I mean, there's times he'll be over by himself. He's not a team guy. He's more his personality and the way he handles himself is more of a baseball personality, more of a baseball mentality, more of an individual sport or individual mentality. You'll see him sitting down here by himself, not talking to anybody. A lot of times he's standing on the sideline. He just looks disinterested, like he don't even want to be there. So I think he's going to play out this rookie contract. I don't think he's going to sign an extension with the Cardinals. I don't look for him to want to really go to get traded. I think he's going to go sign a big contract and play some baseball. Will he come back to the NFL? He might, but I think he wants to go play baseball and see what he can do in the major leagues. And if he takes off and is doing good, he's going to say bye to football. I can go over here. My little body don't have to take all the beating that it's been taken in the NFL. Because he's another guy has been a little injury prone, but when he's healthy, when he's healthy and he's right mentally, he can play quarterback, but just something hasn't been right. I mean, I know he came back from that ankle injury. He didn't look the same, but he didn't look the same physically, but he didn't look the same mentally at all. I don't think he handles adversity well. Not well enough. Well, I shouldn't say well, but not well enough to be your franchise quarterback, the guy you're going to pay $100-something million over the next even more than that, $200 million over the next 4 or 5 years if you was to sign him to an extension. But yeah, I think Kyler Murray is going to end up in Major League Baseball. All right. Another thing I'll talk about real quick before we get out of here tonight is I'll give out the picks I gave out on Easy Money, a sports betting show this morning. In the NBA tonight, some of these games are going on right now, but I had the Atlanta Hawks -5. I had the Indiana Pacers money line, the Brooklyn Nets +4.5, Chicago Bulls -6, Toronto Raptors money line, OKC Thunder +7.5, and the Utah Jazz money line. That was the picks I gave out today on Easy Money, a sports betting show. Again, Easy Money, a sports betting show is live Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Gonzo'S Sports Room. Also, GSR Gonzo'S Sports Room. This show here is live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's also live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Gonzo'S Sports Room. You can find both those shows in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. On most major podcast platforms, you can find us. Please, if you listen to the podcast, please rate and review. We'd greatly appreciate that as well. We also have a new pro wrestling podcast, GWR Gonzo's Wrestling Room, that just came. We just released our 4th episode of that last Sunday. New episode will drop this Sunday at 9 a.m. You can find it Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, on most of all major podcast platforms. And you can also find the video version on YouTube. If you'd like to watch the video version on YouTube, new episodes drop every Sunday at 9 a.m. on the podcast platforms and on YouTube. Check out our social media pages, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all at Gonzo Sport, or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. Check out our YouTube page at Gonzo Sports Room. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notifications of when we're live. If you're listening on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please hit that follow button, the like button, that share button. We greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, we do have merch. Check out our merch store at streamlabs.com/Gonzo'S Sports/merch. You can see some of our shirts here behind me. Got a lot of things on there on our at our merch store. So go check that out and get you some GSR, GWR, and Easy Money gear today. We would greatly appreciate that. All right. Before we get out of here, let's take a quick look at some of the scores of the games going on right now here in the NBA. Like to try to see how much. I like to see how my picks are doing so far. All right. At halftime, the Atlanta Hawks are up 72-53 over the Orlando Magic. New York Knicks are up 31-14 with 2 minutes left in the first quarter against the Brooklyn Nets. The Boston Celtics are up 25-23 over the Detroit Pistons with 27 seconds left in the first quarter. All right, it looks like that's all the games we have going on right now. Okay. Oh, Wizards and Pacers are playing right now as well. They're tied at 25 at the end of the first quarter. That's all the games that are going on right now. At 8 p.m. Eastern, you have the Trailblazers against the Grizzlies. Also at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Spurs versus the Thunder starts. Raptors and Timberwolves are also at 8 o'clock. Kings and Bulls start at 8, or starting at 8. So all these games are starting basically right now. And then at 9 o'clock tonight, you have the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. Golden State Warriors and the Denver Nuggets tonight at 10. And the Utah Jazz at the Los Angeles Lakers cap off tonight in the NBA at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We appreciate all the support that we were getting. Like I said, if you like the show, please share it, tell a friend about us, help get the word out there. We will see you guys tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern with Easy Money and a Sports Betting Show. And then tomorrow, don't forget, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be re-airing DCCW's Harvest Havoc on our YouTube and Twitch channels at Gonzo'S Sports Room. So don't miss that. It was a great show. It features Rikishi, Head Shrinker Samu, the Boogeyman, and then just a bunch of young independent talent like Blake Money Wright, Dutch Boy Platinum, Dex Royal, the Highlight Reel. It was just an awesome card. So I'm sure you guys will enjoy that. Check that out. So, but thanks for joining us. We will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern and tomorrow evening at 7. Hope you guys have a great evening. Be safe. See you tomorrow. Peace.